When it comes to attainable dive watches, the good news for consumers nowadays is that you have plenty to get lost in, though many of the same casts of characters makes appearances time and time again. Today though, we look at a less discussed pick, an attainable titanium dive watch with real credibility that costs around $250, the Scurfa Diver One. Let's jump in. So I talked about having real diver credibility, and if you want more watches with that level of credibility, we actually put to the task Ben Lowry. He's a member of our team and formerly was a commercial diver for many years before joining our team. He put together some of his top picks for professional dive watches according to a diver. Now these are dive watches that are going to have some compliance to many of the needs of a diver. So just to call out some of the top picks, many from Citizen from the ProMaster collection. If you see many divers on an actual boat, you're going to notice many Citizen watches out there, the Fugu models, and many EcoDrive models. We also have Marathon with their government search and rescue in this list, Certina with their many dive watches and credibility, specifically calling attention to the PH200M and several more. If you want to check that out, link will be in the description down below. So Scurfa is a brand that, while not well known, has a passionate following among the smaller portion of the overlapping interests of professional divers and die-hard watch enthusiasts. A big reason for this subset of fanfare is a byproduct of the brand's British founder, Paul Scurfield. Paul, like many founders of a watch brand, is an enthusiast himself, but where Paul deviates from the traditional watch enthusiast is with his day job. Scurfield, or Scurfa as he's known at work, is a commercial saturation diver. Compared to scuba diving, which is generally done for recreational purposes, commercial diving involves a special diving helmet that is connected to the surface by an umbilical that supplies breathing gas and other amenities. Saturation diving is the pointy end of the commercial diving spear, where divers spend up to a month in pressurized environment, taking 6-hour turns working on the ocean floor on a variety of construction projects at depths of up to 1,000 feet or 300 meters. For decades, commercial divers depended on watches like the Rolex Submariner, Sea Dweller, Omega Seamaster, and a wide array of Seiko models as tools in their unique work environment. But with the rise of the diving computer, watches have become less a part of the day-to-day kit of divers. That said, Paul saw an opportunity to begin producing watches first as a point of enjoyment for his friends and diving colleagues, and then as a small business oriented towards the enthusiast market. Officially founded in 2012, Scurfa Watches emphasizes the combination of attainable price points and capable specs, with designs being informed by Paul's watch enthusiasm, while being tested in the depths of the North Sea by the founder himself. And while he has experimented with automatic calibers in some models, the core of Scurfa's collection remains the Swiss quartz-powered Diver One, which has been reimagined several times, with the current D1 500 being the watch that we're going to showcase here. Starting with a conversation on the case and wearing experience, we have a set of dimensions that closely resembles and mirrors classic dive watches of the 20th century, with a 40mm diameter and a 47.7mm lug-to-lug measurement. The thickness and doming of the crystal is more aggressive than normal, extending out at least 1.5mm, though that thickness from the crystal is not felt in wear. I find the perceived thickness to be at least a millimeter thinner. Now, set between the mass-appealing 20mm lugs that are also drilled, the Diver One comes on a custom non-tapered rubber strap that is color-matched to the dial and equipped with the substantial-feeling pin buckle executed in grade 2 titanium to match the case. As an addition, for less than $100, Scurfa also offers a grade 2 titanium bracelet with solid end links and a milled clasp that offers 3 points of micro-adjustment but no diving extension. Like the watch as a whole, both the strap and bracelet are surprisingly good and premium feeling for the price point. Case finishing and architecture are simple, with 90-degree angles at the lugs and a simple brushed finish everywhere else you look. At this point, it's also important once again to state that this is a grade 2 titanium case, the kind of thing that you typically associate with bigger brands and much higher price points, though there are stainless steel versions from this model family that start closer to $200. Since this is the creation of a saturation diver, the watch comes in with an impressive 500 meters of water resistance, and the 9 o'clock side of the case is equipped with an automatic helium escape valve, a feature I normally say no one needs, but one will get the pass here in this rare instance because Paul has actually tested the valve himself. On top, a 120-click unidirectional elapsed time bezel rotates with very steady and responsive action with very little backplay. A simple matte blue anodized aluminum insert tops things off with an applied luminescent pearl at 12. At 3, a 6.8mm screw down crown is flanked by large crown guards and equipped with no less than 4 gaskets, as well as the engraved D1 signature. Taking up view of the front of the watch, we have a dome sapphire crystal with AR coating on the underside, keeping watch over the dial underneath. Available in a number of different colors and several textures, the Diver One dial is an exercise in form following function, with simple geometric indices that are printed over a matte blue primary surface. A sword style handset recalls watches like the Seamaster 300 and CWC dive watches, while allowing ample space for luminescent material, which in this case is a grade A Superluminova BGW9 that glows blue and very brightly after being briefly exposed to a light source. While there are date models available, we opted for a no date for simplicity and symmetry, and dial text follows the same concept, with only the brand's logo at 12 and Diver One in polarizing modern text at 6. Again, the finishing is nothing to get excited about, and there is quite a bit of distortion that comes from the crystal, but everything is clean even under the macro lens, and overall the effect is legible. Turning the Diver One over, we have a well-done screw-down case back with descriptive text and its own larger than usual 1mm gasket to ensure the impressive water resistance being offered by this piece. Just beneath and hidden from view lies a Swiss quartz caliber that makes perfect sense in a watch designed for a more serious diving use case. The Ronda 713SM is a non-date quartz caliber, and in this case housed within the safety of a metal movement holder, as opposed to the plastic you'll see in the vast majority of watches in this price range. This caliber is capable of around 60 months between battery changes and also offers an end-of-life indicator in the form of a seconds hand that jumps in 2-second increments when the power is low. And sure, a quartz movement is nothing particularly sexy, but it does make a lot of sense in a professional-oriented dive watch with levels of accuracy and durability that far exceed what you'll get from mechanical calibers, with this one having a quoted range of -10 to +20 seconds a month, a range typically easily exceeded. So now to unpack when looking at this Scurfa Diver One. Last year we did our microbrand roundup, and this was one of the standouts. Not because it's doing anything incredibly unique, but just for the story, the build quality for where it's at, and I think a price that many people will appreciate. So now let's talk about some cons. Now I think the design and typography is pretty generic across the board. Some people might not like the perimeter around the logo, but now that's getting into some more opinionated types of ideas. Some people also hate quartz in general, and they might not like that that is inside this watch. Again, they do have mechanical options available for some of their line. And the crystal, although I do think it's being done to have some more legitimacy and some more reliability in these underwater environments, this looks like a very thick crystal. It does create some distortions at certain angles, even more than what you'll typically see. And even in an underwater environment, I could see that maybe potentially being an issue. But now let's shift over to some of the pros. And I think first, the reason why I connected with this watch is there are a lot of, affordable dive watches out there. But I thought the connection to the founder and the story and him actually being a commercial saturation diver was a cool connection. So you have this watch enthusiast who also may understand a thing or two about dive watches, trying to make a brand that is also no nonsense in its approach and can actually do the job. That's pretty cool. If I'm looking for a dive watch, to know that a dive watch was made by an actual professional diver and worn by a professional diver in these environments, I think it creates more of an intrigue for some enthusiasts to want to look in the direction of a brand like this. Let's talk about the price. $250, give or take. Now you are dealing with some import duties depending on where you are at different parts of the world, but to get one with a titanium case, Swiss movement, pretty well finished all around. Of course, it's not going over the top in terms of its finishing, but crown feels very nice, very secure, and honestly better than some watches that are multiples of the price. Bezel action is quite good, 500 meters of water resistance, and good attachments with the strap and bracelet and the hardware on top of it. This is just one of those dive watches that's, pretty interesting. Not because of its design, but it does a lot of things right. And when you're dealing with a watch that's this attainable, has this connection, there are these pieces where you can kind of take a flyer on. Sometimes it's hard to go look at a brand that's not really well known and say, I'm gonna spend the money to buy this watch. But when it's in this price range, it's a lot easier to do so. And I like covering watches that are not talked about as much. And I also like covering watches that seem to be made with some passion behind them. And this was one of these watches that felt like it was able to kind of meet both of those needs. And I think for those that are looking for an affordable, no-nonsense dive watch with some real credibility, probably gonna enjoy this one. But all right guys, that's my take looking at this Scurfa Diver One. Have you ever tried one of these watches out? Have you ever seen these watches before? Leave some comments down below. But if you did enjoy the video and you want us to cover more just kind of in the weeds type of watches like this, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. That's a great indicator for me on what you want to see from us in the future. Also, definitely check out TeddyBaldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.